Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a really lovely and very rare Accord. This is a 2-litre EX automatic, last of this generation, which is a generation I absolutely love. Where it gets more interesting, of course, is it's covered just 51,000 miles and has an absolutely full Honda service history, which from memory had 13 recorded services. The car's really nice car. I'm going to go around the car for you. Front of the car, lights and lenses are clear and intact. There's no cracks or condensation. Bonnet is very clean indeed. There's literally hardly a stone chip anywhere on there at all. Coming down the near side of the car, this is obviously passenger side. Again, very clean in the panels in terms of I can't see any obvious indentations. Near side front alloy, generally good, just a few light marks on it, which for a car that's nearly 16 years old, 14 years old rather, is done very well indeed. Paintwork's very nice. There is, over the years, obviously the chap's done a few minor little sort of touch-ins, which you're naturally going to expect to see on this age car. But the actual paintwork looks very original indeed, I have to say. Coming in the back, again, generally all clean. Few again, just, you know, around the car. Obviously the chap's looked after his car, but he's done a few very kind of sort of small touch-ins you're naturally going to say you normally expect to see, and there are a few. But it's just such a crisp looking car. It really is lovely. It really is a beautiful car, and the reason, by the way, it's in the shade is because actually on bright sunny days it's when you get to see most of the marks, so that's why I do it. Coming to the boot area now, big boots, and it looks almost like new back here. It's incredibly clean. Just coming to the back of the car now, full black leather interior, and again the rear seats look as though they've hardly ever had a backside on them. Wonderful condition. Coming on the passenger side front, again in simply amazing condition. Passenger seat there again being given absolutely limited use. Finally coming on the driver's door card, again beautiful condition. Footwell areas again lovely and clean. There is a set of mats for this car, by the way. I forgot to put them in, but they are new actually. So, and the driver's seat again in incredible condition. So inside the car now, as always the engine's running, so the dashboard can be seen illuminated. And what a beautiful interior it is, in fantastic condition. A couple of things to note, because we try and be as honest as we possibly can. Information display up there, it can intermittently go dull. Very common on these. I've seen people wedge things in, but you can get second-hand ones off eBay for next to nothing. But I like to show anything. It is stunning. That's the main dashboard binnacle. Hopefully you can see 51,077 miles and only a fuel light currently on. There are no warning lights at all. But video just does not do it justice, in all honesty. One thing to point out, and again very common, hands-free system on the car is disabled because it was a known battery drain on these cars, and that is not active in this vehicle. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video. This is for a wonderful car. This is for a Honda Accord 2-litre EX automatic. Car is registered OE08OPS and mileage of just 51,069 miles. The reason we do all of our videos, by the way, especially this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's looking online at any of our cars, they get to see the very car we're advertising in operation. The reason we feel it's important is very simple. It's like so many people we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs or description, only to find out when you get there's an obvious fault that shows up whilst driving the car, so hence that's why we do it. Also done on part of the road test route we take our customers on, and this hopefully means it'll be representative of what you feel yourself should you be offered to test drive in the car. So coming to the car itself, as you'll know from the advert, it's an extraordinary extraordinary car. I mean, obviously it's a low mileage car, obviously it's very clean, but more than that, it's, you know, the history of the vehicle, you know, is amazing. All of its servicing conducted by, you know, the Honda main dealers, and it's ridiculous how it drives. It, you know, there'll be a complete spoiler for the rest of the video. You know, it almost feels like new to drive, but it feels so modern as well. That's the difference. Just going through all the usual things as I always do, starting with the engine, which starts instantly and settles to a completely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, but the engines are just extraordinary pieces of engineering. It is so willing, keen, sweet revving, docile, tractable, economical even, and of course, being a Honda, you know, it's engineered like no other engine in terms of reliability and longevity. It's absolutely a jewel of engineering. It really, really is. But it's lovely to use day in, day out, and that's the most important part of its job, in all honesty. So I just apologise that this is quite an early morning video for me, but I've got to get them done when I can, so it's going to be a little bit dark and light at times, so I do apologise. But it means I get up to see this absolutely beautiful winter's frosty morning. This is how every day in winter should be. It is just gorgeous out here. We are absolutely blessed to live in this part of the country, and on days like today even more so. But I digress. Engine feeds through into the automatic gearbox. Obviously gear ratios are chosen carefully to extract, you know, the best in terms of both fuel economy and performance, of course. Being, again, the gearboxes, like the engines, are noted for being incredibly long lasting and reliable. All the gear shifts are smooth and slick. You've got the option to change manually if you want, and it's one of the nicer systems. So if I want to go into manual mode, just pull the gear lever to the right. It speed matches my gear so it won't over rev. If I want to change down, you pull it back. If I want to change up, you push it forward. It's as simple as that, and it all works absolutely perfectly. Coming to the probably my favourite part of the car is the chassis and the steering. This is old school, but when I say old school, that normally means it's quaint, it's, you know, rose tinted glasses time. No, far from it. It's better than virtually every modern car for loads of reasons, starting with the steering, because it's good old fashioned fluid power steering, hydraulic power steering, which means you get genuine feel. You don't get manufactured feel through electric power steering systems, as good as some of them can now be. This just feels so oily. You can almost sense that it's turning the wheels. You know, you can feel as it's moving them. It's that nice. But it's more than that. It's the weighting of the steering. It's obviously easy at low speeds. It's power steering, so it's you know, it's very easy to manoeuvre. But it's got a weight to it. So at speeds, whether you be driving as I'm, you know, was at sort of 30-40 miles an hour, if you're going at much higher speeds, it still gives you that confidence. It's got a weightiness that you can kind of rely on, really. But it's just so accurate and precise as well, and it's tuned to absolute perfection to the chassis. And what I mean by that is, sometimes if, you know, when you turn the car on the steering, it's almost like the chassis is slow to respond. It sort of thinks about it and then goes with it. This is all in one beautiful motion. That first motion is soft, it's elegant, and the reason for that is that at high speeds, what you don't want is something that just is very darty, which can be really nerve-wracking on sort of bumpy roads or twisty roads that you don't know. No, this is your friend at all speeds, but its handling balance is extraordinary. I was really lucky to go on a few track days with Honda years ago, trialling these on a racetrack, and it's one of the few cars actually on a racetrack, even though it's, you know, feels relatively soft, you know, it still allows that precision. There's only a handful of cars that give you that kind of feel at the limit, and this is one of them. I think the Mondeo of its era was one of them. It was, you know, a very underrated chassis, even if the chassis generally kind of fell apart with years. But also the obviously BMW 3 Series, clearly. Steering, by the way, tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. And then you come to the ride itself. The ride's got that beautiful balance between being supple, beautifully damped, but also allows the car to say dig in, to bite, to flow. It's got a really good front end on the car, but it works all four wheels. It's just the stuff of genius. It really, really is, and it puts so many modern cars to shame. Especially because most modern cars now, you know, for aesthetic reasons only, run on these stupid, tiny, low-profile tyres, which make rides so brittle. This is unfashionable in that sense, but much the better for it. There's also, by the way, absolutely no rattles or clonks or nothing coming from underneath the vehicle. As I said, it just feels as tight as a drum in every single way. I'll do the brakes a little bit later because I'm conscious of the fact that I've got traffic behind me, so I don't want to slam on the brake pedal while there's someone there. Coming inside the car, you know, the one thing you will always be greeted by with a Honda is just brilliant build quality. You know, this is now, what we're looking at, 14 years old, and yet there's no squeaks, no rattles. It's just beautifully bolted together, and for what was a highly equipped car for its time, a car you just jump in and drive. It's joyfully simple, but everything has got that beautiful actuation, the tactile feel, the engineering depth that goes into all the controls. Everything's working. The sat nav, the heated seats, the dual zone climate control system pumps out lovely cold air. We put that, I know it's icy this morning, but put it in a nice warm workshop to check the air conditioning. It pumps out lovely cold air. But the display, the detailing of the gauges themselves, I mean, they're simple, but they're just, you look at them, you take the information in, it's just really, really beautifully done, I have to say. And then you've got this lovely leather-bound steering wheel, which by comparison to most modern ones, which are big fat rim things, which are, you know, feel kind of nice to hold, but they're not so nice when you go through the corners. This, you pinch with your fingertips. When you drive, you feel the steering as it goes through the corners. And again, it's an absolutely astonishing condition in here. So clean. We've not cleaned it yet. It will be by the time we do the Walkaround video, which will be edited to come before this, so it'll be out of sync, so don't worry about that. You know, I am biased. I love my Hondas. I adore this generation of Accord, but I say it as I see it. And you know, I can remember selling these virtually new, and this drives exactly as it did then. There's just no wear in it at all. It's absolutely astonishing. So I'm just going to zip by this tractor. You know, as I said at the start, the point of the video is just to show operating, but to feedback on any issues, of which there's none at all. The only real advantage of this video is you get to see this beautiful, crisp, frosty morning. So there we go.